I was born ready. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you guys like the video. Also subscribe to the channel. Now, Canelo Alvarez, he's currently dealing with the hand injury, which has kept him out. If you go to his verified Instagram page, you'll see he has a cast on his arm, and he's just going through the recovery. It was a torn ligament or something in his hand or thumb injury, so he's kind of sitting out. He had plans to come back December 10th, and he is not able to make that, so he's coming back in 2017. Now, the good thing for boxing fans is with Canelo and the HBO budget cuts, with them sparing the expense of another Canelo fight, it's freed up the money to make fights like Vasily Lomachenko, Nicholas Walters, and it looks like Triple G versus whoever is going to slide into that December 10th spot. So Canelo is the biggest star in boxing, the biggest active star in boxing, and his trainer recently did an interview, Eddie Reynoso, and he was talking about their plans for 2017 because they're obviously done for the remainder of this year. And Reynoso said the goal is to fight 3 times. They were trying to do that this year, but obviously the Liam Smith fight, he hurt his hand, and that has prevented them from doing the 3rd fight in December. But they have fought twice. They fought Amir Khan in May, and then they fought in September Liam Smith, and there was supposed to be a 3rd fight that got canceled. Now, the goal is to pick up their WBO belt that they got from Liam Smith. They're having some kind of celebration and honors in Puerto Rico, so they're supposed to go over there. Canelo has met with Golden Boy as far as his future, to discuss his future and the plans, and they said, this is what Reynoso said. He says his hand is doing very well. I think he's recovering in an excellent way. We're going to Puerto Rico to pick up the WBO Junior Middleweight Championship. We're going on the 19th of October and returning on the 21st. As far as the weight for his next fight, they are looking at the possibility of heading up to middleweight limit of 160 pounds, but want to test the waters first. We are thinking about going to 160, although it's a possibility that we'll do it at 158 pounds, just to see how he feels. Canelo's already back working, and basically that's what Reynoso had to say. So I want to give my thoughts. It's good that Canelo's already kind of back in the swing of things, doing light training without obviously using his hand. The thing that troubles me is why 158? Like, to me, I don't know if it's Canelo's management, his trainers, his handlers, but it seems like the kid wants to fight in general, just to fight, and they're trying to baby him. You know what I mean? Why? Like, Canelo's like one of the only fighters who are kind of being spoon-fed. Lara jumped on stage and embarrassed Canelo. Canelo says, hey, Oscar, I want to fight. Oscar admits he didn't want to make the fight with Lara. And then it happened. Canelo won, or they said he won on paper. 117 to 111 was egregious, but it is what it is. Now, 158, it's just like you've been fighting at catch weights, and I'm sure you would probably feel better if you just go to the 160, because that's less weight for you to have to cut. At the scale, at the Liam Smith fight, he looked a bit gaunt. Like, he looked like he didn't want to be there. He didn't look like he was in the best mood, or whatever you want to call it, based on having to make weight. So I don't really understand why his team, you're saying you want to fight Golovkin in September of 2017, and you're optimistic that fight can be made. So I don't understand why his team is kind of trying to gradually move up. And this is exactly what I feared and what I told people with the Liam Smith fight. The Liam Smith fight was really pointless if you think about it. And this is what I said before the fight. Go check my old videos. It's pointless in the sense of, what is the point of him fighting a guy whose only real reason of fighting Liam Smith was he has a vacant belt. He's a champion at 154. But what's the point of fighting 154-pound junior middleweight if you're not going to defend the belt that you just acquired in the fashion that we all thought? We all thought Canelo would beat Liam Smith, which happened. He got the stoppage, he got multiple knockdowns. So what's really the point of fighting if you know he's not going to be there? That's like, let's say I'm Costco and I'm the store manager of Costco. What's the point of me hiring an associate who says, hey, I just want this job for the next 2 weeks, and then I'm moving. I'm going to Mexico to live. I'm going on spring break and I'm not coming back. You know what I mean? Or whatever. It's no point. Why would I hire somebody that's not going to stay there? You know what I mean? I would want to fill that position, that vacancy, with somebody who's going to be a little bit more permanent than that, right? And that's what it is with Canelo beating Liam Smith. The only reason you had for even fighting Liam Smith was because he was a champion, or at least that's what you could say. So it just kind of, I told people you were headed in the wrong direction. If you want to move up and fight Golovkin, why move down and fight Liam Smith and then don't stick around? And there's credible names at 54. Demetrius Andrade, Julian J. Rock Williams, right? Edeslani Lara rematch, right? Boo Boo. There's tons of people at 154, the Charlo brothers, and not stick around for any of them and just leave that belt. You know what I mean? You're going all the way to Puerto Rico to pick up the WBO belt just to vacate it because you're fighting at 158, because you can't defend a 154-pound belt at 158. And his team is saying, hey, he might be at 160, maybe at 158. So that 154 belt will then become vacant because, or he would just be holding it hostage, you know what I mean, until they strip him of it. So to me, that whole game plan really doesn't make sense on the Canelo Golden Boy side. I'm good with him moving up to middleweight. To me, I'm wondering how long, like this, most fighters just, they just do it, you know what I mean? It's like dipping your feet in the water. Just jump in the pool. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how I feel. Canelo's a very good fighter. But if you're seriously trying to fight Golovkin by September of next year, wouldn't you want to acclimate your body to 160? And then the other thing I don't like from Canelo is their team has been saying, like, man, we ain't fighting Willie Monroe. I mean, he's off a win. That's a mutual Golovkin opponent. I don't think you should just publicly turn down fights because you don't like someone's style. You're better off just not saying anything. You know what I'm saying? You're better off just not fighting him. I would at least respect that if you just never got, you know what I mean? I'm not even an advocate for Canelo Willie Monroe. I don't really care if I see that fight because we know what type of fight Canelo's gonna have to search for Willie Monroe. We know what type of fight that would be. So I don't care if it happens or it doesn't happen. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't, if I was Canelo's team, I wouldn't be on record saying, hey man, we ain't fighting this guy. I don't want to fight that style. I wouldn't do that either, just because it doesn't really make sense. Canelo saying this my era and stuff like this.
¿Quién está listo para Canelo Alvarez?
Sabemos que tenemos una pelea dura el sábado, pero nos gusta entrenar fuerte para que no haya sorpresas y primero Dios, vamos a tener una noche mexicana donde vamos a gritar viva México y sin duda vamos a ganar ese título.
So I really just think Canelo's team should sit down, have a heart-to-heart, see what they want to do. To me, if you're gonna go all but 2 pounds shy of 160, why not just go to the full 160? Like most fighters do that. Andre Ward had a long layoff. He fought Paul Smith before he did the multi-fight deal with HBO that said he was going to light heavyweight. And then once that was established, that the end result was to him to fight Kovalev, right? The guy at 175. Then there wasn't like, oh, I'm going to fight at 173 again or 174. You know what I mean? He just moved up to 175 and actually took out Kovalev's mandatory and Sullivan Barrera. And that's how most people's move ups are. They're not like these baby steps where you were fighting at 154 and then it's 4 pounds. It's like making your own division. I don't really understand that. I don't think that makes sense. And if you really want to give people the perspective that you're trying to fight Golovkin, just go to 160. You know what I mean? That's pretty standard in boxing. Danny Garcia, he fought Lamont Peterson, I think, at a catchweight, and then he just jumped up to the full welterweight, and he's been fighting at welterweight, and that's where he's campaigning now. You know what I mean? Canelo, his last few fights before Liam Smith, there were like 5 consecutive catchweight fights. So why fight at 158? And then the other thing that worries me about that number is a lot of the middleweights are kind of big. You know what I mean? So who's going to want to, maybe they will for the opportunity in the Canelo name or whatever, but I just feel like that's kind of petty to make them drop an extra 2 pounds. You know what I mean? You're a good fighter. Have faith in your skill set. You could probably beat him at 160 depending on who it is. You know what I'm saying? It's just like David Lemieux, he was missing 160 in the James De La Rosa fight, and the fight got canceled. So if you were, let's say David Lemieux was the guy in February that they want to fight, He couldn't even make 160. So is he going to be able to make 158 and be able to perform and be healthy? You know what I'm saying? So I really think Canelo's team should reconsider that and just move to the 160, because when you fight Golovkin, it's going to be at the full 160. So it's not going to be these baby steps. Golovkin is not a baby step type of fighter. It's good you're going to be in there tough with Golovkin. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think of Canelo. They want him to fight 3 times in 2017, maybe as early as February. His hand is coming along, and the first fight may be a catchweight of 158. Again, I'm not big on catchweights. To me, a catchweight is a little bit more acceptable. If Canelo's big, he's big enough to make 160, point blank period. If you were fighting a guy, like you were moving up and you were small and the guy was big and he was like moving down, okay, catchweight makes sense. Like Floyd and Canelo, okay, it makes a little bit more sense. Pacquiao, De La Hoya, you guys are kind of meeting in the middle. But Canelo's clearly big enough. His 30-day weigh-ins, he weighs more than Golovkin at times. When he rehydrates, he weighs more than some middleweights at times. So he can clearly just move up to the 160. That's just how I see it. Let me know who Canelo should fight next. I definitely think he's big enough where he should just take the plunge. Instead of dipping your feet in and then pacing around the pool, just jump in the pool. Middleweight, see how you feel when you get in there. And that's what a true champion does, adapts. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.